There you go. Local Congressman Darrell Issa is here. He serves, of course, as the chairman of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. He's holding a hearing, in fact, right here in San Diego later on this morning. In fact, I think in just a couple of hours from now. Congressman, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me back on, and thanks for covering this important hearing.
Yeah, and I think it's happening at 9 o'clock, correct?
It is.
Tell me about what's happening at UCSD.
It's the 8th hearing that our committee is holding in the field on impediments to job creation. We've been in Silicon Valley, we've been in upstate New York, we've been in Salinas to talk to the farmers. Now we're coming to focus on biotech and the other industries here in San Diego that are finding impediments to job creation. And impediments to job creation is kind of a mouthful. How about just the FDA not allowing biotech to move the breakthroughs they want in a timely fashion? Those kinds of things.
And the breakthroughs, and also I think a lot of the money obviously is the main driving force here. The money for research and development has kind of gone down. A lot of jobs are going overseas. What can you do with your message here to maybe have that come back to the U.S. and have more job creation here, especially in the biotech?
America is still the innovation capital of the world. We've got some self-inflicted wounds. It's part of what this listening session through AmericanJobCreators.com is all about. We're listening and saying, what is it you need that doesn't eliminate clean air, clean water, but looks and says, how can we make the system work better? The president has talked about, you know, how we regulate salmon. Salmon, that we can set that on the side. How about the 54 different pesticides that are having to prove that they have no adverse effect on salmon, even though they've been used in the fields of Salinas for decades? We have to look and say, are we inflicting wounds to job creation? And you mentioned money. Money flows to the quickest destination to success. If you can cut down the time it takes to bring a new breakthrough drug to market by a year or two, money will flock to that place. On the other hand, if Germany and other countries in Europe have faster approval, money flocks there. Plus here in San Diego, every day, USD, UCSD, these other fine universities graduate people with math and science degrees and then order them out of the country, even if in fact there's a job here that would allow them to create employment.
I saw an article in the Wall Street Journal recently, and it said it was something about job creation in the U.S., where there were, you know, X amount of millions of jobs created in the U.S., and almost the same amount by U.S. companies created overseas, whereas maybe a decade, 15 years ago, the ratio was nowhere near equal. What has happened, and how can we change it?
Well, some of them that are pretty easy for the American people to grasp. We have a tax policy that says over $1 trillion of corporate profit made overseas, usually by exporting our products, should stay over there and be invested, because if you bring it back here, we have a 35% penalty on bringing it back. It literally says invest $1 overseas or bring back, you know, 60 cents or so to the U.S. As a result, those investments are being made overseas. We can change that with the stroke of a pen in a matter of days.
Let's talk about the budget agreement. We avoided the government shutdown, thankfully, but the battle is still going. Where does it stand right now, and moving forward, what's going to happen?
Well, every day America spends $10 billion in government spending. $4.2 billion of that $10 billion is borrowed. So we don't need a government shutdown, but we need a government slowdown. We need to find ways to spend less, because we're taxing the American people at a high level, among the highest in the world now, and we're still spending 42 cents more per dollar than we actually take in. A lot of these things are because there's nice-to-have programs that need to be cut, but quite frankly, we've got to get control of Medicare and Medicaid spending. 18 cents on every dollar in the economy goes to health care today. President Obama said his was a solution. It doesn't look like it is, but we do need to work together on health care reform to drive down those costs.
Does there need to be a major overhaul in the tax system? A lot of people have been talking about that, personal, corporate.
Well, look, I don't want to move the deck chairs on the Titanic around, but there are some places in which we can make some sensible changes, and one of them is, quite frankly, in the corporate tax rate. Most of the rest of the world is 20% or less. We're 35. It does encourage corporations to move their profits overseas. That's not good for America. But in general, we're not undertaxed, but we do have some crazy disincentives to job creation in America that we can change, and we can be even greater again.
A lot to work on. That's where your job comes in. By the way, this meeting is at 9 o'clock this morning. UCSD open to the public?
Absolutely open to the public. Full hearing, and then later today, the chamber will be having their lunch with Congress, so it's going to be a full day.
Outstanding. Congressman Darrell Issa, thanks for spending part of your day with us.